The Times has reported this morning that more women have come forward with allegations about Russell Brand's behaviour. The newspaper said that these fresh claims had not yet been investigated, but will now be rigorously checked. And other than that, they did not provide any more details about them other than they related to Brand's behaviour since the early 2000s. This is often the case when such facts are exposed by the press. There are often other victims who have been too afraid to come forward before for fear they will not be believed, as well as not wishing to relive the trauma of the incident or face media exposure. A prime example of this would have been the death of Jimmy Savile. When some people spoke out about his abuse, others then came forward, and shockingly it was an avalanche of victims, somewhere between 400 and 600 I think. So, who is Russell Brand? He's a 40-year-old man who was born in Essex and became famous in the early 2000s hosting Big Brother's Big Mouth, which was a spin-off that showed after the Big Brother episodes in the evenings. He then went on to star in Hollywood films and then marry one of the most famous pop stars at the time, Katy Perry, more of whom later, before going on to divorce her. Over the years, he's developed a following, some would say a cult following, but it's too large for that now, for his views on politics and society. And more recently, he's begun to dabble in the world of conspiracy theories. He posts his own videos on YouTube. He started his career as a stand-up comedian, performing at the Hackney Empire and then also later at the Edinburgh Fringe. Over the weekend, Channel 4 programme Dispatches aired an edition in which 4 complainants came forward and accused Brand of non-consensual physical attention. I've got to put it that way, otherwise I'll get censored. That was broadcast on Saturday night at 9:30, and then on Sunday morning, the Sunday Times had a huge report on this. It seems that both the Sunday Times and Dispatches journalists were working on this together, and the investigation was years in the making. Prior to this, on the Friday night, Brand had released a video himself on his own channel addressing, or at least partially addressing, the situation. Although he was not specific about the crimes he was accused of, he absolutely denied them, and then went on to suggest they have been engineered against him because of his views. People jumping to Brand's defence have also suggested this is the case. Perhaps it is. However, there's been a lot of work put into this by a collaboration of journalists over a number of years. It's also been an open secret in the industry that his attitude towards women is less than perfect. Some people have spoken out against him and others have refused to work with him. One of his victims was 16 at the time, and he even sent a chauffeur to pick her up from school. She alleges that he forced something into her mouth and then forced it down her throat. I'll leave you to guess what that was. He did this despite her repeatedly saying that she did not wish to participate, and in the end she had to punch him in the stomach to stop it. If you look online, he actually included this in a stand-up routine when he was on stage, joking, saying that he enjoyed the choking noise that it emitted and was even better when you could get the mascara to run. Do I think it's fabricated in order to shut him up? Especially as he suggests due to his views on the vaccination and the big pharmaceutical companies. Though I wouldn't rule out this behaviour by the pharmaceutical industry and others, it seems highly unlikely in this case. The evidence seems compelling, especially with texts that have been sent around this time, one of which was a text from Brand apologising after one of his victims sent him a text saying that no means no. If this is coupled with other anecdotal evidence of complaints against his behaviour and attitude, though not illegal, certainly unsavoury, I would say that the odds are he has a case to answer. I said earlier that other people have come forward with allegations against him since the airing of the Channel 4 Dispatches programme and the report in the Sunday Times. The police are also in contact with the Times and Channel 4 regarding these allegations. So far, there have been no reports of abuse or non-consensual activity in America, where he lived for a while. If it was a conspiracy by the big pharmaceutical companies, I would have suspected that there would have been allegations made in the United States, where the pharmaceutical companies have much more leverage and a much more ruthless attitude towards profit. In the UK, it is estimated that only 1 in 100 non-consensual assaults are reported to the police. And when I say non-consensual assault, I'm referring to the most serious of those, i.e. the one that begins with the letter R. That is further compounded by the fact that only about 1% of those reported end in a conviction. When you look at these figures, it's understandable that not many people come forward, and those that do have a lot of courage. This is even worse when the assailant is a famous person. I mean, would you want the media camped on your doorstep, following your every move, digging up any little bits of dirt from your past and embellishing them in order to sell copies of their newspaper or views on their videos? All of this for a 1% chance of a conviction? No, I wouldn't either. Sure, I'm not so naive to think that no one ever makes things up, for whatever reason, but in this instance there's already been 4 complainants and more coming forward. And it's highly unusual for people to come forward in these numbers to all be making it up. I won't condemn Brank as guilty until there is more evidence. However, I do think things are not looking very optimistic from his corner. What do you think about the situation? Do you think it's a setup? Do you think he's guilty? Leave your views in the comments section. As usual, I'll make more updates when they become available.